What's going on, folks? Gabe here from Item 9, and today we have a very special video. This month we really wanted to use our platform to invite some black creators and gaming professionals onto the show and really hear their stories and have conversations about why it is they do what they do, how they got into the industry, and we wanted them to share some of the resources that you guys yourselves can use to further your journey into the gaming industry, whether that be through content creation and streaming or journalism or development, which is why today I'm very happy. This is one of the first people to reach out to want to be on the show, and this person has been in the industry for more than a decade now. They are the founder of the outerhaven.net, a home for all things nerd and geek culture, as well as been freelancing for various websites such as Tom's Hardware, which is why I want you guys to give this person a very warm Item 9 Gaming welcome. So it's with a pleasure that I get to introduce you guys today to Keith Mitchell.
How you doing, Gabe? Thanks for having me on the show, man.
No problem, man. So first things first here, always at Item 9 Gaming, we have to ask our guests, what have you been playing, man? What's really been grabbing your attention so far?
So that's a question we ask a lot on our podcast, and it's always a weird one. I found myself going back to some older games, been playing a lot of Resident Evil 2 Remake because that's one of my favorite games. I always loved the original Resident Evil 2, and the remake is just that much better for me. Um, I kicked the habit of playing Demon Souls on the PlayStation 5. I am a huge fan of From Software games. I own every one of the games on every platform. I am
Oh yeah.
addicted to those games. So I was playing the other day and I was like, I've beaten this game 5 times. I need to stop playing this game and play other things. So on a whim, I fired up Wipeout Collection on the PlayStation.
Okay.
It looks amazing on the PlayStation 5. So good. So I've
Oh
been
yeah.
playing a lot of that. I missed out on that game when it first came out. Love
Okay.
it.
Big into the From Software games, yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, I should go back. I'm big into that genre.
Okay.
From Software games, Mortal Shell, not so much Swords of the Fallen, the Surge,
Oh yeah.
games like that. I love. Those are my jam.
Okay, definitely. Now, some of those, man, they're just so intimidating for me. I've never really tried to hop into one other than Sekiro. I've just been scared off of them. You know, I've watched one of our co-hosts, Carter. From Software is his jam as well. He loves all those games. So I've watched him play Bloodborne, and I'm just like, man, you know what? I'm gonna take a step back. Maybe I'm just gonna hang out here and play some Jedi Fallen Order. That's more of my comfort zone when it comes to the Souls likes. But definitely, I'll have to look into those for sure. I think it's definitely time for me to challenge myself and hop into those games.
What I would say as someone who's played these games for what seems like an eternity, do not be intimidated by those games. Those games, people say they're hard. They're not hard. They're repetition and they're learning what works and what doesn't work. It's no different than playing a Mega Man game.
Definitely.
You'll
Yeah,
get your butt kicked, but you'll learn.
more of like recognizing patterns, and once you get that learning
Exactly.
curve down, it really just becomes like seamless. I've seen people who are just like memorizing these patterns, and it's just they get into that zone, and it's just like it just becomes like an art for them in some sort of sense, you know?
Exactly.
So
If you ever watch those players that play the game and are like no hit, no damage runs,
yes,
that's it. They've memorized everything.
definitely.
So it's no longer a challenge.
Awesome. So I'll have to keep that in mind, and I'll have to be playing some Wipeout too, checking that out on the PS5. Is it
Great game.
does it got co-op multiplayer on it?
I do not believe it does.
Ah, I'll still check it out though. Hopefully get some
But then again,
online
nobody in
runs.
my family is going to play Wipeout with me, so it doesn't make a difference. I've
Awesome.
tried to get them to play games with me. I even tried to get my son to play Bloodborne, and he played it for like 5 minutes. Like, I'm done.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm there right there with him. So Keith, why don't you tell us a little about yourself and exactly what the Outer Haven is?
All right. I am, and I'm not ashamed to say, I am a 44-year-old gentleman who loves video games. I've been entrenched in video games ever since my father brought home what they call back in the day an IBM clone. Um, my father is the guy who got me started on this path, whether he liked it or not, when he brought that computer home. Because the first thing I did was try to figure out how can we put games on this thing, and we're talking about the old monochrome monitors and everything. They were just not meant for games.
Yeah.
So I convinced him to go buy a color monitor back in the day. the old VGA guys, and that started my journey into gaming. It also started my journey into playing working with IT, because eventually I took that computer apart and trying to figure out how it worked, and that was not a good experience. My mom was not too thrilled,
Yeah.
but I learned eventually how to put it back together again. So it sparked video games, and it sparked me working in IT, which I've been entrenched as well for the last 35 years now.
Okay.
So IT is my life. As far as Outer Haven's concerned, so this is an interesting story. So once upon a time ago, I want to say maybe 14 years ago, I started a video game website that was all about music. We talked about music. We collected old soundtracks. We put them out there for people to get access to, MIDIs, OGMs. And after a couple years of being out there, I attracted a bunch of people on the internet, and a lot of them became my friends. So they were like, "Hey, we should totally do a podcast about games." So we put our head together. We thought about it. We did it, and that was called ShadowHaxer.net podcast.
Okay.
That website no longer exists, so anybody can't go check it out anymore.
Yeah.
It's kind of a funny story. I had that domain name, and that website probably still existed
Yeah.
had I not lost it to a cyber squatter.
Ah.
I only recently got that name back.
Yeah, you gotta hold that down, man. You
It
gotta lock
took
those
me
down.
14 years. It took me that long to get it back.
Oh my gosh. It was a hot
They
it was
are
a hot name. They wanted it.
It was.
Yeah.
They were like $10,000,
Oh my
$8,000. Like, I'm not paying you that.
Nah.
I had to pay $80 to eventually get it back. And I was like,
Okay.
every couple of months I checked to see if this domain was available. And it just so happens last week I checked and it wasn't serving anymore. And I was like, oh, let me go check it out. And it was
Yeah.
on auction house. I was
Yeah.
like, okay, I'm grabbing that back. Give me my
Yeah.
name back. So
Exactly.
that was pretty awesome. But we did the podcast. We did it for a couple of months, and then somebody was like, "Hey, we should totally talk about gaming news." So we said, "All right, what the hell? I'm an IT guy. I do web servers and whatnot. I'll put together a website." And I put together a website, which was called PHP Nuke,
Yeah.
and then eventually moved it over to WordPress, because WordPress is pretty much everything.
Yeah.
And it just started off from there. We started talking about gaming stuff. We weren't very professional. We made a lot of mistakes. We did a lot of stupid things, but I want to say maybe 5 years into it, I got the idea that I did want to make it a more professional website. And
Definitely.
unfortunately, the people that started the site with me are no longer around. They all went their different ways. They didn't want to keep doing it, and I was like, "Well, I'm going to keep doing it because I like doing it."
Yeah.
And I forced it myself. Eventually, more people came along. I asked for help, and I've got a really decent core of people that they're not really my coworkers. They're my friends. They're my family. You know, we argue each other, we yell at each other, we get pissed off at each other, we come together when we need to, but they're my family. And I really love working with this group of people, even though sometimes they drive me crazy. But yeah, the Outer Haven is pretty much a site that was started to tell a unique side of gaming from a different perspective, not from, and no offense to anybody who sees this, the IGNs, the Kotakus, or the EGMs, because back then there was these guys who were in these corporate offices who talked about games, and there wasn't really a lot of it didn't feel like there was a lot of love in there.
Yeah.
It was just like, this is a job.
Yeah.
I'm doing this as a job. Eventually that changed. You got a lot of great people down in IGN and whatnot that love gaming, that are super passionate about gaming. And I love that. But this was something that I wanted to do, to tell my side of gaming, put my whole unique spin on gaming, to be involved with the game industry, because I've always been a kid who's like at the window looking, wow, I love to do that.
Yeah.
And obviously it didn't turn out that way. I'm not a professional gaming journalist, but that's fine. I'm doing this as a hobby. I'm doing it as a passionate fan, and it's been great. We've been invited to places like E3 and PAX, Comic Cons. We get to talk to some of the developers. We get to talk to some of the publishers, and it's been a fun ride. It's been a really fun ride. But more than anything, and even though we don't get a lot of recognition because we're a small guy in a super huge pond, it's like, you know what? We're doing it. We're actually doing it. We don't have a corporate sponsor. We don't have a big money throwing stuff at us to help us out, but we're doing it. And that's great. That's freaking awesome for me. And the other guys love it too. So,
yeah. And that's really like the best thing that you can ask for when doing this, is that you're just, at the end of the day, you're sitting down and you're having fun with your friends, and you're just really kind of sharing these experiences with people who are so like-minded in the same ways that you are. And it's just, I think that is one of the best rewards out of doing that. And I clearly see that for you, it is the same as well.
you got to have a lot of love for it, especially when you work a 9 to 5
Yeah.
and you get off of work. And in my instance, everybody's always asking me, how do you have so much time? Because my job, I work in IT, obviously. I have on call. So sometimes I can be in the middle of doing something and like, all right, this is broke. Come in, fix it. And you're like, God, I was doing this, man. My wife, my 2 kids, it's just a scramble. I also suffer from an a condition, tinnitus, um, which I've dealt with for the last 7 years. I've been dealing with it. It's been fine. But now I got a new onset that happened like a couple weeks ago. And I'm like, oh, please. I hope I'm just sick or something. This is
Yeah.
ridiculous. I don't want to go through this process again. Come on.
Yeah,
But human body does what the human body does. Can't do
definitely.
anything about it.
So I wanted to ask sort of what are some of the resources and supports that you as a Black creator use? Like, what is it, and what would you recommend for other creators trying to get into the industry?
So this is stuff that I've learned on my own. And obviously, this is going to be more of a cliche, but you simply cannot give up. I know I've reached out to a lot of companies asking for a chance. Like I'll look at other sites getting opportunities to preview a game or check out an event or something. And then you approach that same company and they go, well, you're not big enough. You don't have the numbers. You don't have the demographics. And you're going to get that a lot. You're definitely going to get that a lot, especially if you're starting out and you just simply cannot give up. It's just like dating. If somebody says no, okay, fine, but it doesn't mean the door is shut somewhere else. There, even though there's one company or 1,000 companies that may not want to work with you or talk to you, there's always that one that will.
There's one will say yes. You'll get that one.
One will say yes.
Yep.
A great thing about this industry is that it's so vast. It doesn't seem like it, but you got your PlayStations and your Xboxes and your
Definitely.
Square Enixes and whatnot. But there's tons of people out there that are working on stuff that want their stuff to be heard or seen. Indie developers are great for this. They will talk to you in a pin drop. They love talking to you because they're the indie people I found are some of the more passionate people out there. They love it, and they're not constrained by deadlines that they can't stop and talk to you. So definitely reach out to any developers if you can, or Twitter's a great resource too. Even though I will say that you have to navigate Twitter very carefully, especially this day and age as a Black creator, because it's gotten the awareness is coming, but there's a lot of people out there who don't like that. And there's a lot of people on there that are very toxic. So watch yourself. But there are a lot of people on Twitter that are super amazing. That are very helpful in your journey. And all it takes is for you to reach out and say, hey, I have a question. And
Definitely.
some people will come out and be like, you know what? Here, hit me up on my DM and I'll talk to you. I've met a lot of interesting people that way who are great resources. Um, Reddit is good as well. They're again just like Twitter. It's toxic at times. You have to navigate. Just like anything, I would say anything in this day and age, especially as a Black creator, you just have to watch what you're doing and who you're talking to. But keep forging ahead. Don't let things discourage you. I know a lot of people have. I've seen a lot of stuff that's happening on Twitter for a lot of Black creators, especially the female Black creators, and you can't let that stuff stop you. More than
Definitely.
anything, if you're a female creator, you will see a lot of stuff that will rub you the wrong way, and it stinks to see that. It stinks to hear about that, but you just got to keep forging ahead. If this is something that you like to do and you're passionate about, you keep going. You simply have to keep going.
Definitely. And I just wanted to add on that too, is like saying that, especially as a female creator, it seeing these accounts and seeing how these people are just actively spreading, like it's so easy to spread negativity, and then you see all these
Yep.
Black content creators, these female creators, Black women, and it's so easy for them to just take the positive route, and it's like they can go this way and they can just retaliate and they can say the negative things, and it's like, why even waste the time when we could just put out positive content? And we know that there's good people out there that want to watch it. And I just, it amazes me. I know it's really, especially this year, I know for a lot of people, it's been real eye opener. It's Black content creators. We're here, like we have a voice, and we're gonna
Hmm.
use it.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing that really bothers me, especially with the female creators. It just seems like there's a lot of people out there. They do target a lot of minority streamers or content creators. They do that, but it just seems like the females get a lot more flack because it feels like to me it feels like they deem the females weak, and that is completely and totally wrong. I know a lot of female creators out there that do not take any crap.
Yep.
They will look at you and simply eat you up, and I feel bad for these guys that are just constantly harassing them because it's like You don't have a life. You
Yeah,
have nothing better to do than to harass these people. Like, you should be commending them. And if you can't, then do the old outage that my parent taught me. If you can't say anything at all, then just shut up.
exactly.
It's simple. It's that easy. You don't have to do anything else but just leave them alone. Stay in your circle. Do your own thing. If you're not going to congratulate and commend, then just stop.
Definitely.
No, but
And certainly, but not last, our question here. Where would you like to see the industry heading in the next few years? Is
well,
there some things that you'd like to see more of?
yeah. For first and foremost, everything that we're seeing this month,
Yes.
Black History Month, needs to happen year round.
Yep.
I as much as I'm a fan of Black History Month, I hate it. I hate it because you get all these opportunities, all these people coming out, all these companies coming out, hey, come on our show and hey, we'll work with you. And then the second March 1st comes up, they're gone. They
Yep.
dry up. And that is terrible. It should be an all year round thing. The only difference between a black creator and another creator is the color of their skin. That is it. This is an industry that employs millions of people, different colors, different backgrounds, different thoughts. Why is it that we celebrate one specific race one time a year? It should be every year. And I'm not just saying, and I think a lot of people take this the wrong way. And I'm not saying give all the opportunities to black content creators. I'm saying give it to the ones that are showing that they can put in the work. Don't just give it out to somebody who just started out, oh, hey, I got one follower and I haven't done a video. Well, no, obviously that person isn't deserving of it. But if
Yes.
you got a guy out here who's got a huge following, who's doing a great job, give them a chance. Give them a chance. And not just uh, Twitch or YouTube or publishers, even outlets. We're seeing more and more gaming outlets doing freelance opportunities, bringing in more and more people. Keep that year round. That's what needs to happen. I want to see the community become more diverse. I want the industry to become more diverse. And I want to say that they're taking baby steps as a whole. There are more people becoming more accepting. There are more people working with more companies. I will give kudos to Xbox. They have been doing it. There's been a couple other studios or publishers, developers who have been doing that, but it needs to be more. There needs to be an overall acceptance for all races, for all people. That's pretty
Ab-
much what I want to see.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I think that again, in the past year or so, it's really starting to become a forefront of the matter. I think a lot more people are pushing the conversation, and I think again that it is great, but again, it's something that should have been happening from the beginning,
Yeah.
and that's unfortunate. But again, I am grateful that there's a lot more people giving us the recognition that we deserve. There's becoming a lot more opportunities again, but to agree with you in saying that the energy needs to be kept all year round, you know? So I
Yeah,
definitely
it
agree with
definitely
that.
has to be. It
Yeah.
definitely has to be. I mean, nobody wants to. None of the people in this space want to be like, all right, because it's worse for them. Because okay, here's a great example. You got 300 black content creators. Just say they got 300 black content creators, and February rolls around, and they're like, all right, we know these opportunities are going to come up, but in the back of their head, like, there's too many of us for all these opportunities. Wouldn't it be better than just spread it out throughout the year so everybody gets an even chance?
Exactly.
So,
We don't well, you know, it's too unfortunate, but I think that a lot more content creators are feeling more comfortable. I think there's a lot more spaces for them to feel recognized. I mean, there's
mhm.
a lot of definitely more opportunities in the sense of the Black Game Pro mixers. If you've ever seen them or been to them, I mean, those events for me, that was one of like the most empowering and uplifting events that I've ever been to. And to think that if I had been to something like that 5 years earlier, the networking opportunities and just the
Yeah.
projection of my career path. And I think that it's so important that we have these communities and that we're encouraging people to join and speak out on their experiences because, you know, you never know who's going to be watching or who's going to be listening or who might even be at that event.
Yeah, I kicked myself because I've never been to one of those. I heard about them, and obviously we're not doing much of anything right now
Oh,
because
yeah.
of good old COVID. But I've only ever gone to the big gaming events. I've never had access or had the chance to go to one of the black mixers. I always wanted to. And even recently, Twitch had a black content creator summit. And I'm still trying to find out how that went
Yeah.
because I wasn't able to go to that one. So yeah, it's I'm glad to see that the industry is moving. I'm glad to see that there are more resources out there for black and people of color streamers and content creators, but there needs to be more. There
Yeah.
definitely needs to be more.
Absolutely. Well, Keith, I really appreciate you coming out on the show. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you.
Same.
Why don't you let people know where they can find you, check out your content?
Sure. So you can check myself and my other friends or family members over at theouterhaven.net, which is a spin-off, spoof off of Konami's Metal Gear. One of the submarines was called the Outer Haven. A lot of people
Yes.
remember that. So there's where we got that from. So check us out, outerhaven.net. We also have a YouTube channel, which you can check us out by just typing The Outer Haven on YouTube, or check us out on Twitter, The Outer Haven on Twitter as well. We don't really stream that much on our YouTube or our Twitch channel anymore because we're still trying to figure out that path. But if you ever want to check me out directly, you can follow me at The Outer Haven, or you can check me out at Shadowhaxer on Twitch. Trying to get back into the whole streaming thing as well.
Definitely. I know I'll definitely be checking them out. And
Appreciate
before we
that.
go, Keith, always have to ask, what is your main guilty pleasure video game? What do you go to? What's the game that you go to, that others are thinking, I don't know, we didn't really like this one?
Well, I can't say that game anymore because I'm retired. I'm officially retired from that
Yeah.
game. So I will not recommend anybody or say this is my game anymore. That's actually a pretty hard question because a lot of games I played a lot in the past, I simply do not go back to it. I would have said any of the Dark Souls games, but no, not anymore. Because again, I'm done. Um, honestly, I couldn't answer that question because I play everything. I literally play everything. Everything
Definitely.
under the sun I play. I give every game a try, except for visual novels. I don't touch that stuff. I don't touch those games. They're no thanks. They're not good. But give me a second here. I mean, look at my stream or my Steam catalog here, and
Definitely.
because there's so many games I play, and it's like,
I hear you on that, man. Man, I'm a sucker
yeah,
for movie tie-in games, man. I don't care.
yeah. I got like 1,000 hours of my Dark Souls 3 on Steam alone.
Oh my.
So yeah, I'm bad. I'm very bad. You know what? Fine. Dark Souls 3. That is the
Dark
game where
Souls
I
3.
get tired, I get bored, I get frustrated, I just jump into the game like it's not a challenge anymore because again, it's just I blow through everything. But yeah, that's my game. And also, I would also say Resident Evil 2 remake. I
Oh
love
yeah.
that game. I can play a game as many times as I can, and I really love that game. It's a phenomenal game from Capcom.
Awesome.
Definitely play it if you haven't played it.
Well, Keith, thanks again. I appreciate it. Hope you stay safe during the pandemic, and hopefully we can catch some of your streams sometimes. And we'll definitely be checking out theouterhaven.net. And if anybody's watching this, be sure to check out the Outer Haven. They've got great content. Love the website. All your gaming, anime, movie news. It's all there for you guys. And don't forget to hit up Item 9 Gaming as well. Until next time, guys, we'll see you all later.